communication that most men never fully understand. A woman rarely expresses desire directly. She will not look at you and say the words every man secretly wishes to hear. I want you, I miss you, or I can't stop thinking about you. Not because she doesn't feel it, but because vulnerability is a currency she protects with everything she has. Instead, she expresses desire in indirect, coded, emotionally subtle ways that reveal far more than her words ever could. And if a man does not know how to read these signals, he will miss the entire story unfolding right in front of him. A woman's attraction is an emotional language, not a verbal one. She reveals it in shifts of behavior, in small choices, in moments where her guard softens even for a second. When she wants you, she won't declare it. Instead, she will ask questions she never asked before. She will create conversations out of nothing. She will look for ways to stay connected without ever admitting she is afraid to lose you. The words, I want you, are replaced by phrases designed to protect her pride while still pulling you closer. She might say, where have you been? Or, you've been quiet lately. Not because she wants a simple update, but because she feels your absence more than she expected. She might say, I saw something and it reminded me of you, because she wants you to know you crossed her mind, even if she refuses to confess how many times that happened before she finally said it. These small phrases may seem casual on the surface, but underneath them lies a battle between her desire and her fear. Women are deeply aware of the emotional power imbalance in early connections, and admitting desire puts them in a vulnerable position. She doesn't want to look like she cares more. She doesn't want to be the one chasing. She doesn't want to risk giving you the emotional advantage she believes you already have. So instead of expressing raw desire, she wraps it in questions, observations, jokes, or innocent comments that allow her to test your reaction without exposing her heart. The modern world made this even more complicated. Women are told to be independent, confident, and untouchable, but their emotional wiring has never changed. They want to feel safe before they express anything real. They want to know you're not impulsive, not unstable, not desperate, not trying to impress them. They want to sense your grounded masculine energy first, the calm, steady presence that makes them feel emotionally secure enough to lean in without feeling foolish. And when they sense that energy, their communication shifts instantly, even if their words don't. Her signals are soft because her fear is loud. She won't say, I want you, but she will say your name more often. She will ask about your day, even when she doesn't ask anyone else. She will tease you to create connection. She will initiate small interactions to see whether you respond with warmth or detachment. She will create openings, not confessions. She will offer invitations, not declarations. And the man who understands this never needs direct words. He reads the truth written between the lines. Because here is the part men need to master. Women express desire emotionally first, verbally last. And once you understand the language she uses before she says anything direct, you gain access to her real intentions long before she ever admits them. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course, it's a brotherhood, a private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. The emotional reason she can't say, I want you. The first thing men need to understand is that a woman's difficulty with direct expression is not a sign of disinterest. It is a sign of emotional self-protection. Women are not afraid of wanting someone. They are afraid of wanting the wrong person. They fear being misread, rejected, or seen as too available. They fear handing over emotional power too early, especially in a world where vulnerability is often met with inconsistency. So when she feels something for you, even something strong, Her instinct is not to announce it, but to manage it quietly until she feels emotionally safe enough to let you in. This internal caution comes from a very old psychological truth. Women evaluate before they invest. Before she gives you her heart, before she offers her affection openly, she needs to be sure you are stable, present, reliable, and emotionally grounded. She wants to feel that you are not simply another man chasing out of boredom or desire, but someone who can create a consistent emotional environment for her. This is why she holds back her words, because words are commitments, and commitment for her is emotional exposure. She cannot risk expressing desire to a man who may disappear, change, or fail to protect her emotionally. Instead of saying, "I want you," she communicates through softer, safer channels. She tests how you respond when she reaches out. She studies your tone when she jokes. She pays attention to whether your energy calms her or complicates her life. These are the signals she trusts more than your compliments because they reveal the consistency of your character rather than the excitement of the moment. Her indirect communication is not manipulation. It is emotional intelligence. It allows her to stay connected without risking too much too soon. This is why so many men misinterpret a woman's quiet interest as indifference. They expect directness, but she offers subtlety. They look for bold statements, but she offers small openings. They want clarity, but she gives curiosity. Yet, in her world, these soft signals are the clearest indicators that she is drawn to you. She won't say, "I want you," but she will ask about your day because she wants to remain part of it. She won't say, "I miss you," but she will remind you of a moment you shared because she wants to recreate that emotional connection. She won't say, "I need to see you," but she will hint at something happening in her week, hoping you take the lead and create the moment she is too nervous to ask for outright. These indirect expressions reveal something essential about female psychology. A woman only risks emotional openness when she feels emotionally secure. Until then, everything she says is a combination of desire and fear, of curiosity and caution. She is not waiting for you to chase blindly. She is waiting to see whether your presence is stable enough for her to lean into without losing herself. And the man who understands this will stop judging her silence as a lack of interest and start recognizing it as the bridge she's building towards something deeper. Section 2, the hidden phrases women use instead of "I want you." When a woman feels drawn to a man but isn't ready to expose her heart, she replaces direct desire with indirect invitations. These phrases are her way of leaning in without looking like she's leaning in. They are soft, subtle, emotionally coded signals that tell you far more about her feelings than any blunt confession ever could. These phrases are not random. They come from the emotional tension she feels, the desire to get closer, and the fear of getting hurt. So instead of admitting her longing, she speaks in a language that protects her pride while still feeding the connection. One of the first phrases she will use is the classic, "Where have you been?" It may sound casual, almost playful, but beneath those four words lies a deeper message. "I noticed your absence. I missed your presence. I'm wondering why you haven't reached out." Her ego won't allow her to say those things directly, but the emotional truth is hidden inside the question. She asks because she feels the gap when you're not there, and the curiosity she tries to hide slips through her words without her realizing it. Another phrase she uses when her guard starts to lower is, "I thought about you today." She will present it as something small and innocent, but it is one of the most revealing signals she can give. It means you've been on her mind more than she expected, more than she wanted, and more than she wants you to know. She doesn't say when or why or how long, because the real story is that she thought about you far more than just today. But that simple phrase lets her show interest while disguising the depth of it. It's a safe revelation, honest enough to keep the connection alive, subtle enough to protect her heart. Then there is the line many men overlook. "You're different." When she says this, she is not talking about your haircut, your style, or your personality. She is talking about the way you make her feel. She senses something in you, your focus, your presence, your calmness that separates you from the men who chased her with desperation or played with her emotions. Saying you're different is her way of acknowledging your value without directly admitting her attraction. She is telling you she sees you, that she's intrigued, that you stand out. It is one of the closest indirect confessions of desire she will ever give without saying the actual words. Women also express interest by asking questions they don't need answers to. What are you doing later isn't curiosity, it's an invitation. Are you going out tonight isn't a random check-in. It's a subtle way of saying she wants to be part of your world. Did you eat? May seem simple, but for a woman, asking about your well-being is an emotional gesture. These questions aren't about information. They're about connection. They are her way of staying close while pretending she's just making conversation. And then there are the nostalgic phrases. Remember when, or I still laugh about that thing you said. These are not memories. They are emotional openings. When she brings up moments you shared, she is reactivating the emotional bond between you, testing whether you still feel the spark she still remembers. Nostalgia is one of the strongest tools she uses because it allows her to reconnect with you indirectly, wrapped in stories instead of confessions. These phrases reveal a crucial truth. A woman doesn't express desire through declarations. She expresses it through emotional breadcrumbs. Each one may seem small on its own, but together they create a clear path that leads straight to her real feelings. You just have to be the man who sees the message behind the message. Section 3. How her actions reveal the desire. Her words hide. While her phrases create subtle openings, it is her behavior that exposes the truth she refuses to say directly. A woman's actions always reveal her emotions long before her words catch up, because attraction makes her act in ways she cannot fully control. Even when she tries to stay composed, even when she wants to seem unbothered, her behavior betrays her. She won't say the sentence, "I want you," but she will shift how she moves around you, and those shifts are more honest than anything she could ever articulate. One of the first behavioral signs is her change in attentiveness. When she wants you but is too afraid to verbalize it, she becomes hyper-aware of your presence. She remembers small details you mentioned casually. She pays attention to your tone, and she notices changes in your mood before you say anything. She doesn't announce her emotional investment. She demonstrates it by how carefully she observes you. This heightened awareness comes from her emotional focus, because when a woman is drawn to a man, she studies him more deeply than she studies anyone else. Another behavioral indicator is her inconsistency. A woman who is emotionally neutral behaves predictably, but a woman who feels something she's scared to admit becomes contradictory. She may pull back suddenly and then return a day later with warmth. She may tease you playfully one moment and get shy the next. She may act distant, not because she's losing interest, but because she's fighting it internally. These emotional fluctuations are not signs of confusion. They are signs of impact. You are affecting her more than she expected, and she is trying to manage that intensity without exposing her real feelings. Then there's her subtle desire for proximity. She finds small excuses to be around you, even if she pretends they're coincidences. She might sit closer than necessary, linger at the end of a conversation, or position herself near you in group settings. She won't admit that being around you calms her or excites her, but her body language will reveal it. Her posture softens, her eyes stay on you longer, and she mirrors your gestures unconsciously, not because she's trying to flirt, but because her nervous system feels drawn to yours. She will also engage in micro-initiations. These are tiny, low-risk actions that allow her to stay connected without looking like she's chasing. She might react to your stories, comment on something small, send you a meme, or ask you a question she already knows the answer to. These small touches are her way of keeping the door open. They are emotionally significant because they signal that you occupy mental space she cannot ignore, even if she tries to downplay it. Another revealing behavior is her emotional sensitivity toward your attention. If you respond colder than usual, she feels it immediately. If you take longer to reply, she notices. If your energy shifts even slightly, her behavior changes in response. She may not say anything about it, but her mood, tone, and level of effort will shift to match the emotional temperature. A woman who doesn't care won't react, but a woman who desires you quietly becomes emotionally synchronized with your energy, even when she thinks she's hiding it. Finally, she becomes subtly defensive about you. She may not confess her feelings, but she becomes irritated when other women get too close or when she senses you drifting towards someone else. She won't say, "I want you to myself," but her reactions will show discomfort, tension, or sudden protectiveness. Jealousy rarely appears in her words. It appears in her micro-expressions, her sudden questions, or her change in tone when she senses competition. All these behaviors reveal the same truth. She feels something she isn't ready to say out loud. She won't speak her desire because desire exposes her. But her actions will always reveal it quietly, consistently, and honestly. The man who understands this doesn't need verbal confirmation. He reads the emotional patterns that reveal everything she is trying not to admit. Section 4. Why her indirect words matter more than a direct confession. The reason a woman's indirect signals carry more truth than any direct "I want you" is because they come from a place of emotional instinct rather than calculated intention. When a woman says something directly, she has already processed it, analyzed it, and prepared for the possible outcomes. But when she hints, when she implies, when she dances around her feelings without naming them, she is expressing something raw, something that slipped through before her pride could polish it. These indirect words are honest because they are unfiltered by fear, ego, or strategy. A direct confession requires certainty, but indirect signals reflect desire in its purest, most vulnerable form. When she asks, "Why didn't you text me back?" she is not looking for a logical explanation, she is revealing that your presence affects her. When she says, "I miss talking like we used to," she's admitting that the emotional bond still holds power over her, even if she's trying to sound casual. When she says, "You've changed," she is really saying, "Your energy matters to me more than I expected." These statements don't sound like confessions, but they carry the emotional weight of one because they come from the depth of her feelings, not the surface of her words. Indirect communication also matters because it shows you where she is emotionally without forcing you into a reactive role. She wants to know whether you are safe to desire, whether your presence is stable enough for her to open up, and whether you are mature enough to handle her interest without misusing it. She uses subtle expressions because subtlety allows her to feel the connection without exposing herself to rejection. It's not manipulation, it's emotional protection. And the man who misunderstands these soft signals as mixed feelings ends up missing the truth she is trying to express in the only way she feels comfortable. There is another psychological layer. Women express desire subtly because society rewards them for being desired and punishes them for desiring. A woman who chases openly risks judgment, embarrassment, and emotional loss. So she learns early on to communicate her interest in ways that let her retreat if the response feels uncertain. Her indirect words become her emotional shield, not to deceive you, but to protect herself from disappointing outcomes. These phrases allow her to say just enough without saying too much, to stay connected without appearing vulnerable, to show interest without sacrificing her dignity. This is why indirect phrases matter more than blunt declarations. A woman might tell you she wants nothing to do with you while her behavior tells the opposite story. She might pretend she's indifferent because the intensity of what she feels is too overwhelming to admit. A woman's truth lives in her subtle expressions, the small things she repeats, the questions she asks, the tone she uses, the concerns she disguises as casual comments. When she cares, you will feel it long before she ever says it. And here is the final reason her indirect words reveal more than her direct ones. They are emotionally involuntary. She cannot stop herself from asking about your day if she's thinking about you. She cannot stop herself from checking in when she feels you distancing. She cannot stop herself from bringing up old memories if she wants to reconnect with the version of you who made her feel something. These impulses are the closest thing you will ever get to an unfiltered confession because they happen before she has time to think, plan, or protect her pride. The man who learns to interpret these hidden meanings gains access to the side of her she reveals only through emotion, not through speech. and that side is always the most authentic version of her desire. Section 5. How her fear of losing you shapes her words. A woman's indirect communication becomes most revealing when fear enters the equation. Not the fear of you, but the fear of losing the emotional connection she secretly values. When she begins to sense distance, when your energy shifts, when your attention softens, her words start to change in ways that expose her vulnerability more clearly than she intends. She still won't say, "I want you," because admitting that would give you emotional leverage, but her fear will reshape the tone, timing, and intention behind everything she says. This fear is not always dramatic. It starts quietly. She becomes more attentive to your replies, more sensitive to your schedule, more reactive to the spaces between your messages. She will ask questions that sound innocent but are driven by emotional concern. Are you okay? Or did something happen? These are not casual check-ins. They are her way of making sure she has not unknowingly pushed you away. Even if she doesn't express direct desire, the urgency in her voice betrays her emotional investment. She is scared of losing the connection, and that fear naturally makes her more expressive. Even if she hides it behind soft wording, one of the most powerful signs appears when she starts referencing the past. She might say, "We don't talk like before," or "You feel different lately," because she is sensing the emotional gap that your silence or distance has created. These phrases are her indirect way of saying she misses the closeness, but she cannot bring herself to express that desire outright. Instead, she frames it as an observation, because observations are safer than confessions. Yet, the emotion behind them is unmistakable. She feels you slipping away and she wants to pull you back in without openly admitting her attachment. As the fear grows, her indirect signals intensify. She might suddenly show more interest in your life, asking detailed questions she never cared about before. She might send you things that remind her of you, songs, photos, memories, not because she randomly stumbled upon them, but because her mind keeps returning to you out of emotional need. She may even become slightly defensive or protective when she thinks someone else might have your attention. She won't say, "I'm afraid someone else will take you," but the tension in her tone will give her away. She is feeling the risk of losing you, and fear magnifies honesty in ways she cannot fully control. Women often struggle to admit this fear because it contradicts the narrative they want to project: independence, confidence, emotional stability. But the truth is that emotional connection softens even the strongest woman, and when she fears losing it, her communication reveals that softness. She might say things like, "Don't disappear on me," or "I hope you're still around," disguised as playful comments, but each one carries the emotional weight of someone trying to hold on to something meaningful. She is not asking for your presence. She is pleading for reassurance without sounding desperate. Her fear also influences her timing. She reaches out at unexpected moments, checks on you more frequently, or replies faster than usual because uncertainty makes her more emotionally alert. She won't admit that she is worried, but her actions become more synchronized with your availability. A woman who is indifferent never adjusts her rhythm for anyone. A woman who is afraid of losing you always does, even if she hides it behind casual words. The key truth is this: when a woman's fear speaks, her pride weakens and her desire becomes visible. She still won't say, "I want you," but she will say everything around it. Every indirect phrase, every cautious question, every nostalgic reference, and every emotionally charged comment. Her fear of losing you reveals her longing far more clearly than any direct confession ever could. In the end, the greatest mistake men make is believing a woman's desire is measured by what she says. They wait for the direct confession, the perfect sentence, the unmistakable declaration: "I want you, I miss you, I can't stop thinking about you." But female desire has never lived in her words. It lives in the subtle shifts, in the soft invitations, in the emotional fingerprints she leaves on every interaction without ever admitting their meaning. A woman will rarely reveal her feelings with bold, exposed vulnerability. Instead, she reveals them in the quiet ways she tries to stay close, connected, and present, even when her pride won't let her speak the truth out loud. Her indirect phrases are not signs of confusion. They are signs of emotional caution. She is not hiding because she doesn't care. She is hiding because she cares more deeply than she wants anyone, including herself, to see. Every question she asks, every memory she brings up, every moment she reaches out just to hear your voice again, carries a message louder than any confession. She won't say, "I want you," but she will say the things that only a woman who wants you would ever dare to say. And once you learn to understand the difference, you stop needing the words altogether because the emotion beneath them becomes unmistakable. A woman's truth shows itself at the edges of her restraint, the crack in her voice when she senses distance, the softness that appears when your energy shifts, the sudden warmth she offers when she fears you drifting away. Her pride hides the surface, but her fear reveals the depth. And when her silence finally breaks, not with a confession but with an emotional question, you see her desire in its purest form, unpolished, unprepared, unguarded. That moment tells you everything you ever needed to know because it exposes the one truth she spent weeks trying to protect. You mean something to